Oh yeah, sexy biscuits. Nice.
Long boy clothes, 1975. YouTubers on the rise. Reviewing games late at night and sometimes friends. But Long boys clothes, 1975.
Welcome to another ZX Spectrum Vs Commodore 64 comparison video, as I like to call it, Playground Wars. In this video we'll be taking a look at this game, Mercs, that was released in the arcades by Capcom in 1990, and basically the Japanese name is Senju no Akami 2, or Wolf of the Battlefield 2, which means it is basically the follow-up to 1985's Commando, which you would probably realise when you played it. It was a scrolling bottom to top of the screen, you know, bullet hell, shoot 'em up, basically where you could play 1 to 3, well, Mercs. And yeah, it was ported to pretty much absolutely everything. I mean, I imported the Japanese version on my Mega Drive, and to this day I still absolutely love it. There's a Master System version, Amiga version, Atari ST version, Spectrum, Commodore, as you would expect from this series of videos. I do like those screenshots there, or those mock-ups of the arcade. They are very, 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 very nice. But yeah, it was ported by US Gold in 1991 to the home micros, and these versions I'm going to be playing. But yeah, it's on everything. The president gets kidnapped by a bunch of rebels, and then you Mercs go in to, well, free the president, and that's it. You have a number of weapons you get by shooting boxes and picking them up. Certain objects in the background can be destroyed, certain vehicles can be ridden. And then if you hold fire down, because it doesn't give you a separate fire, you have a special grenade button, kind of like you did in Commando, and it's a big sort of nuke weapon, and you will need it. This came out in 1991 on the Spectrum, which is, well, 9 years into the system's life and 1 year away of its last official game, and you could argue we probably should have got better than this. Then why am I playing it? Because it's Mercs, it's a sequel to Commando. I've done Commando, and I like doing arcade machine comparisons. Obviously at this point I was into Mega Drive land, but let's have a look for the reasons I said. It's a bit clunky to set up the controls. So you press 1, there we go, and then 1 player there, right, 2 player, 3 player start, right, so 1 player, set up controls again, there you go, the 5 set keys, or should we go with 5 set keys, right, let's try this, O left, P right, very, very quiet, sorry about the background noise, Q up, A down, M fire, and Z for pause. Why didn't it just give us another pause key and another key to use our nuke button? Because, like I said, that's what makes it, it's not instantaneous, because you have to hold it down. And as you will see, this is pretty tits frisky. I think it's safe to say we all know who's going to win this comparison video. But I am trying to cram in as many arcade conversions on these two machines as I possibly can, and this is one of my favourite arcade / and or Mega Drive games, and I do have a comparison video of that. Right, so I've set keys. How do I go backwards? We set it to 1 player. Look, so I press one player, make another selection. I don't know, let's go to Kempston, right, because apparently I think I've just set 2 players. Oh well, right, we'll go to 1 player, which takes us to the next screen again, so we'll just go with 3, which, it's a tap file, so we can do this with a little bit of magic, space, and space, and there I am. Now, there we go, I'm playing it on joystick, not keys. You got your inventory, your health and all that, you know, good gubbins and stuff up the top right hand corner, or up the right hand side of the screen I should say. Fire, hold fire down. That's your nuke, which is effective, but takes a little bit too long to go. Now, you're probably looking at this, if you didn't grow up the Spectrum, and thinking this is crap. And to a degree, it's not the best example of it, but for such a late game, I would have preferred it to be either done like Commando with a little bit of attribute clash, but generally monochromic background with coloured sprites in certain areas. But they've gone for the full, let's completely try and limit attribute clash, which is impressive. It's impressive, but it gives a complete lack of detail on the sprites. But like I said, your enemy sprites have got 2 colours. But, you know, so you go up to the right, you destroy the trees, because we couldn't give a shit about Bill Oddie. That's what I did there. Life. Yeah, and then, yeah, so I mean, so far, it's pretty decent. It's not terrible graphics, actually, to be fair. Look at that, that's quite impressive. It's a pretty decent representation of the arcade, and there is no attribute clash. That is actually, whether I would have preferred it to be like Commander, to be fair, was a different company. That was Elite, and this is US Gold. It's impressive. Look, lots of colour. Shoot the hut. First level is incredibly small. It's incredibly hard, like the arcade, because your enemy just keeps coming. I don't know the meaning of the word dead. Or stop. Or fucked. Well, to be fair, they do, because they know they're coming at me in such sheer numbers. That's done that to me. Right. Where did I get the bird that this feather came from? Sorry. Well, where do I get, I should say, different gun? This is a really accurate, albeit it's smaller than it is in the arcade, representation of the first level. I'm actually pretty impressed with this. I think Commander is a superior game, especially when you consider it came out in 1986, but 5 years earlier than this. But the complete lack, so yeah, do you know what, yeah, the complete, yeah, twice that close together, Dave, really? Learn to articulate. Yeah, the complete lack of attribute clash is amazing. That red bar is the Harrier's hold fire down, health bar, hold fire down. This is how you do it. Come on, it's hold fire down. I've lost a life, but I outlasted him. There you go. That's pretty much, that is really cool. I'm actually quite impressed with that, but that's pretty much how you do it in the arcade. And on the Mega Drive version. Mission completed. Landing mission successful. Time to move in. As you probably realised from the bottom right hand corner of the actual play area of the screen, you can see that it is simultaneous 2-player, should you choose it to be. Hence the fact all the guffins and stuff when I was trying to set up the controls. Space, because we got magic, and level 2. Now, where are my guns? There we go, flamethrower. Actually, that's pretty cool. What are they? Oh no, this is better. The gun sprites look like they do in the arcade. Oh, actually, I was trying to just hammer this, but yeah, that's pretty cool. So you got your weapons, you got all the variation of weapons. Can I get in? Yep, that's a bit basic. I'm not changing direction, but you have vehicles in here as well. Do you know what? This is a lot better than I remember it being, because I had played this floor several moons ago. Right, you got your walls. You can see a little bit of attribute clash there because you can see how they've got around it. Do you know what? I don't know what views this got, but I would have given it pretty decent ones graphically. This is, you know, it's the more you play it, the more you can appreciate what they've done here. Because lots of people would have just gone with, you know, screw it. With them kids, you know, never mind it, this was a premium game, they can deal with attribute clash. But yeah, I mean, I would have preferred it to be like Commando, but there's no argument. This is, again, if you didn't grow up with Spectrum, you're not going to understand these words. Pretty decent version, you know, graphically nice and lovely and like that. Look at the definition in the tank. I think I've just found, you know, my gun of choice. There you go. This gun is wicked. I'm taking a hammer in. To be fair, it's pretty bullet stormy in the arcades, because it's a pretty bullet stormy game. I can fire through the wall. I can't recall you doing it in the arcades, but I'll take that. There we go. Sweet. In-game music would have been nice. Woo-hoo. Hamburgers, remember, 5-second rule. Even in war, you know, unless they're using chemical weapons then. You're on your own. This is the boss. Fire. Fire. Come on. This is pretty decent. Seriously, really is. Come on, outlast him. I can do it. I can do it. Yeah. Obviously, it's quite simplified in the way you take damage and stuff like that, because and the screen's cramped. Although the screen is pretty narrow because it's one of those vertical weird monitors. Well, not weird, just how they did, you know, running gun games. But yeah, 2 levels of Mercs on the ZX Spectrum, and despite my initial thoughts when I was playing it, I am pretty impressed with it. This is a really decent, you know, job of converting an arcade machine. It should have had no chance of doing whatsoever. Granted, if you're not used to the Spectrum, this probably looks like someone's just eaten a lot of orange squash, or drank a lot of orange squash and eaten a lot of peas and sweet corn, and then yacked it up on a tablecloth. That's a pretty accurate analogy. If you are familiar with ZX Spectrum, then you'll realise what they've done here, what they've pulled off here, is actually pretty good. And look, it's appearing that all the levels are in it, because they are this short in the arcades. Anyway, let's jump to the Commodore 64 version. I have played that before, but it was absolutely, like, years ago, so it'll be interesting to see how that version compares to this. I'm dead. So this is Mercs running on the Commodore 64, 1991, US Gold. Specific winners don't use drugs. Boring random fact, in the 90s, winners did use drugs, and a lot of winners used drugs, and the reason they were winners was because no one worked out their own drugs at that point and got away with it to become losers. Seriously, look it up. Anyway, so yeah, this is running on my C64 Mini, so I am using that god-awful joystick, although I can't think it's going to make that much of a difference on this game. Anyway, as you can tell, right out of the stable, we have lovely SID chip music. Obviously there was title music on the Spectrum, and the title screens are pretty similar. I mean, the Commodore one does look better, but how many different ways can you make the word Mercs look? So, you know, you can't really judge either on that, but yeah, the Commodore was going to have better music because it's a SID chip. But there was music on the Spectrum. Is there in-game sound effects? I don't know. This is one or two simultaneous if you want to play it, but I'm playing on a C64 Mini, so two problems there. One, it's silly o'clock in the morning, so I don't have anyone to play it with, and two, the other USB socket on my C64 Mini is taken up with a memory stick that has this game on. Anyway, let's go. Right, so your health is, and all your information is at the bottom of the screen this time, for some reason, giving you a wider play area. There is no sound effects. I can't really hold that against it because a lot of Commodore 64 games do that, or some give you the chance to. Hold down far. There we go, you get the explosion like the arcade. Yeah, some give you a chance to have either, but we will see how varied the music is, or if in fact it even changes. There are far less characters on the screen at once, but the sprites in this are nice and detailed and colourful, and it certainly scrolls a lot better than the Spectrum. It certainly looks a lot better than the Spectrum. But I will say, part of the joy of this game is, or frustration, the sheer number of bad guys it throws at you at any one go. So, you know, I'll give that to the Spectrum, but graphically the Commodore's got it. Maybe not so much on the sound anymore because the music is on the smallest loop ever. But yeah, this is really good port. Reminds me a lot of Master System port, which to be fair is better, but you know, more powerful machine. Shoot the huts, flash white like the arcades. The level layout is exactly the same as the arcade, or exactly the same as the Spectrum to be perfectly honest. It's a wider play area, which you could argue is not as accurate as the arcade, but yeah, this is really impressive. I'll tell you what's not impressive, how much my left arm hurts already because of this crap joystick. I know I say that a lot, but I went into Argos and you still can't pre-order the new joystick. I'm dead. Fire. Wow. I'm stuck. It's got sticky background syndrome. This is really impressive. I'm really liking this. I mean, you would hope it was the better version. It does look like the arcade. Screen's too wide for the arcade, granted. Oh! Hold down far. It's got no health bar. Oh yeah, he has it at the bottom. But that's more reminiscent of the arcade because he doesn't have a life bar in the arcade, he has chunks of a life bar. That's pretty cool. So far, well, short level on the Spectrum as well. This is a really nice version of the arcade. I would have preferred in-game sound effects as well, and not so much very short rinse and repeat tune. But hey, this is really good. Look at this. Again, a lot less people, but I don't know, is that a hardware architecture thing or processor speed thing? Again, I don't know. I don't profess to be an expert on any of this. I just like to play arcade games on either machine and compare them. I am very impressed with this. I mean, to be fair, if there were more people on the screen at once, my poor left arm would be completely dead now. Oh, you can shoot and look! I mean, the limitations of the Spectrum, it could have probably done this if it was monochromic, but I guess that comes down to the people who program it and how much time they had to do it, and if anyone was going to buy this game as late as 1991. But again, the reason I do these Playground War arcade comparisons is this was some people's only chance of playing Mercs, and it was a big popular arcade machine. But look, my Jeep is accurate to the arcade, the colours accurate to arcade, the sprites are, granted there's not many of them, you can move around, screen is a bit too wide, it shouldn't really be that wide. Can't run over them? That is pretty small loop of music though, isn't it? Come on, you can give me that one. There we go. Yep, I'm going to fight, off the rebels and rescue the president, against the military. So what am I going to do? Am I going to wear camo? No. I'm going to wear blue trousers. Game over? Only 2 lives. Controversial. I'm guessing now because there's a hack room, I did select it at the start, that I could have multiple credits. Oh well, that's my bad. New game plan, we're just gonna run. Run, Forrest, run! I can't even see points for the car on that. There we go, run, run, run. Why so few credits? I mean, like different teams, that's why there were more credits on the Spectrum. Still a bit pants though, isn't it? Can't go backwards if you run by your food. Can't recall if it did that in the arcade, but that's a bit pants as well. But yeah, I mean, pretty much given that so far this has just got it over the Spectrum. There are a couple of ifs and buts I will get to at the end, but they don't, you know, change the deal any much such or anyhow. Like, learn to speak in a minute. And obviously, if I didn't play this on this and displayed it for emulation on my Frodo unit, did not miss him, then I could have used a control pad. No, he should have died. Why are you still alive? Don't kill me, he killed me. Did you see how much? Whoa, shake harder, boy. Right, get straight in the Jeep and leg it. Right, that music's getting on my tits now. But then, to be fair, just having a sound effect on the Spectrum that sounds like you crinkling up tin foil doesn't help either. Some sort of medium between them both. Run. Have I seen any guns yet? That's interesting. That's just me missing them, but they were in the main area, weren't they? It can't not have the guns. Well, anyway, I'm going to sum up. Basically, this is a very, very, very nice, you know, looking and good version of the port. The incredibly small loop of music is pants and irritating. The Spectrum had far more sprites on screen, which you could argue is what it needs because it's a proper bullet hell game. You're probably saying, but Dave, you suck at it. Probably sucking at it because I'm playing on the Commodore 64 mini joystick. But yeah, the Commodore's got it. You know, I would have preferred somewhere between a mix of music and sound effects at the same time. But I mean, in the looks department, this has got it for sure. More bad guys on the screen. That really does. That's a given. You know, it's Mercs. You have to have more bad guys on the screen. So, not sure why I did that. And are there no guns? Big fuck off tank now, please. There we go. Big fuck off tank. Come on. That gun is useless. These guns, they do nothing. Fire! Alice does that. If I'm not aiming at him properly. At least he's got the explosion though, like the arcade, a big bazooka hit, and it doesn't have that stupid, just, you know, the flash on the Spectrum screen. Oh, come on, he was dead. So there, I mean, by all means, let me know what you think. You prefer, which you think is the best version. I will say the Commodore version does do the part for me. Needs more blokes on the screen at once, which the Spectrum absolutely pissed all over it in, but, you know, it looks like the arcade. What can I say, particularly in the Jeep? However, if you know the limitations of the Spectrum, particularly with Attribute Clash, I will say that the Spectrum version is actually quite impressive. Anyway, as always, I'd love to know what you think. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you later.